Right, hiya. So, just jumping on here to give a little recap into this year's sort of competition prep, what went on, what went right, what went wrong. So, just been and done and finished at the PCA British Finals. I competed as a master, so it's over 45 years of age. Now, I've been competing 25 years, a long time, so it's second nature really for me. I haven't really ever had a year off. I've always competed sort of 2 times to 4 times, probably averaging like that every year. Normally you do a qualifier onto British Finals, and then from there I might jump into like a World Championship or go abroad and do a Mr. Universe. And that's kind of what I've been doing for the last few years. Obviously with COVID, etc., there weren't so many options this year, so just stayed sort of homebound and done the PCA because it is one of the biggest sort of British Finals to do. Now, this time, the prep was pretty good, pretty easy. I'll stay fairly lean. But where it went wrong for me and became a bit of an apparent worry was just sort of pushing the cardio a little bit hard, with the calories being low. I mean, people don't discuss this and they just see the glamour and the glitz and you coming off on stage looking fantastic. But probably about 4 or 5 weeks away from the date of the competition, I was doing fasted cardio like I've done every morning for, God knows, 20 years. And I could feel my blood sugar dropping very low, so it dropped low. I remember going into a shop to buy sort of like an energy drink or, Coke, that sort of thing, bring my sugars up. I remember trying to buy the drink, using my phone to tap for it, but I couldn't really see. Everything had gone sweaty and, blurry, and I couldn't see the scanner. But I remember leaving the shop, drinking this drink, downing it and thinking, oh, that'll do. Next thing you know, 2 hours has gone past and I've been unconscious on the floor and been put in a recovery position, and ambulances have come, and in fact an air ambulance turned up to take me to the hospital. So that was a bit of a worry, but I had every scan and, and everything that went alongside with the health markers of being unconscious and slipping into, that kind of unconscious coma for about, I think they said 90 minutes. And trying every sort of drug to bring me out of it and bring my sugars up, and nothing was working. Eventually with like about 8 or 9 bags of saline and stuff, I started coming around, and I stayed in hospital for a couple of days where they done a lot of liver tests and brain tests and heart tests and make sure nothing was being kind of disturbed or upset, as well as blood tests, and the take home from it was they couldn't really find anything that was wrong. I've made no sugar in my blood, and was told to try and eat a bit more sugar in my diet, which goes against everything you're doing in prep, but I took it on board. So, I'm very conscientious, that'll do, bodybuilder. And so I went off and I've got like a glucose monitor and had it implanted into my arm. And so it's a very clever little gadget that's linked up to my phone. And then my phone app would blink at me and make an alarm sound if it ever dropped too low. So it gave me the safeguard and the knowledge I could still push the cardio and push myself. And if I didn't feel the signs of low blood sugar, the alarm would go off on the phone, and it asked you to regularly check it through the day. And it was just a matter of you holding your phone and tapping your arm. So no little needles pricking your finger all day long. It made it very easy. And I think through the rest of the prep, about 2 more times the alarm went off, but it's alarmed me when my blood sugar went down to about 3, and it just meant I knew it was time to stop the exercise I was doing, cut back, and I always took glucose tablets around with me since that day, so I was monitored and in control of it. And what tends to happen with a lot of people is as you get like your energy gets drained down, the calories get less, you're not eating as much food. The food that you do eat, you utilise a lot better, so your blood sugar becomes much more sensitive, so you're much more sensitive to insulin, which is a good thing because it means that the food you eat will be utilised for its job, as opposed to having a lot of sugar sort of circulating around in your blood, and you've got higher sensitivity to eating carbs, so it's very easy for you to get fat in that state. So it proved to me that I was in a good sort of fat burning state, but obviously still a worry. But we pushed through and went on to the British Finals. And British Finals we done, and we won the Masters class. If you look at the video to follow, you'll see that I was sort of stepped forward a little bit before I was announced, but I had a lot of confidence that I would win that, and lo and behold, I did.
81 Mark. And your winner, coming back to compete in the overall at the end, athlete number 78, Neil Cranwell. Can we have a round of applause for your Masters bodybuilders? Can we have a...
So as you can see from there, very happy first place. It's always fantastic to win. As you can see, the old chops are still in. Now it's a week after the British finals, so why are they still in? Well, decided to carry on, keep in condition and do the PCA UK show. Obviously still desperate to get that PCA Pro card, that there's one at every kind of big event, and go on into their PCA sort of pro show where there's £10,000 to be won. So why would I not still in condition? Now, this last month of prep, I've been using a very knowledgeable friend now and a coach called Tom from Evolution Training, and he has been helpful with just keeping the head switched in gear and keeping it on me shoulders, which tends to kind of roll off from time to time if anyone's competed before. Towards the end, sometimes you look in the mirror and see yourself as fantastic. Very rarely in my case. So often you see yourself like looking fat or thin or soft or too full, or you forever guess yourself towards the end. And if you use your own eye, sometimes you can double guess it and get it slightly wrong. And it's just nice to have someone else's opinion who's got a trained eye that's not that close to you, that can go, shut up, or do more, or in my case, sometimes do less, and in these last few weeks now, it's about just ticking the boxes. So, everything's where it needs to be. Weight's just pretty much about the same as stage weight was a week ago. Actually dropped down a couple of kilos since then. And just really plod along. So I'm looking to come in a little bit tighter, sharper, harder. Do like condition anyway on stage, but I always think I can push harder. But one thing I did learn from the Britain finals is I did push the dehydrating too hard. People don't really talk about that, but dehydration has kind of got a bit of a rap in bodybuilding recently, and I think it should do, because it's quite dangerous. And where I pushed myself to dehydrate pretty hard, which means sort of not drinking water for the night, from the night before right through until you're on stage and past being your class on stage, with minimal amounts of water, after you've loaded up on water, so you're continually peeing and peeing and peeing, and then manipulating your carbs so that you still pee and pee and pee, without putting any more in. I found I really pulled myself down, and I was quite unhealthily sick, vomiting sick, where I was over dehydrated when I came off stage. Where everyone else is going off to Nando's and that, I actually attempted to go to Nando's and sat there, and with the smell of the food and everything around me, my stomach was like a washing machine, and then the fun and games began with my head down the toilet for about an hour before they called on the overall, and then I run out last on stage, I think, because I was still in the toilet, so not the best. So I wouldn't want to go through that again. It's just not worth it, and obviously you're not going to have a good look on stage if you haven't even pumped up and you've just been pumping out down the toilet. So we won't do that this time. So keep it more fluid in, but I've been doing this 25 years, and you're always learning. And the interesting thing is your body isn't the same replication as it was last time you prepped. So what you've done then, if it worked fantastic, don't necessarily work fantastic this time. So that's what keeps it interesting though, really. So it's always a bit of an unsettled, nervy time, and it's great to have someone in your corner. So so I'm using Tom there just to help guide me right through the end, and I've made him a deal. If he can get me that money, it's his. Okay, so what does the next stage of the prep and the training and the dieting look like? Well, it's actually quite easy. So this is why we're doing it, because I've had a week off training, about 4 or 5 days actually off training, and I went back to training at Rip Gym in Basildon, which I love. Love that gym. Try that out if you've not been down there. Got a posing room, got the best equipment, wicked sound system, great for legs. So obviously I went and trained legs there yesterday. Now that was the best workout I've had in about a month. So really full of glycogen, not one vein or detail left in my leg at the end of that, which is, you know, has been a rare thing for the last month, where it's been just very dragging me arse kind of workouts. So the great workout, long may that last. Hopefully it will last another week or so into the UK show. Now, because my weight's down and I'm in decent nick still, it allows me to eat more food than I have done into the final. So my carbs are up. They're actually in every meal, and so is the protein fairly high. So a little bit of fat as well to go alongside it. And what you'll find there is that my energy should stay constant. I should stay fairly full, but the carbs aren't high enough to really, you know, to keep me that full with the metabolism that I've got at the moment. So it's racing along, and this will still bring me down and bring me in. And hopefully we'll see a much improved, harder, faster, fuller looking physique in 2 weeks. I know I'm feeling good for this one.